I'm driving to Tahoe. The angle looks so different than the last time I filmed while driving. Yeah, I'm driving to Tahoe. It's the holidays. Being a lone wolf once again. It's just how I prefer it. I'm a little under the weather too, so being a lone wolf, I'm also, saving anyone from that. And I'm about to drive through Sacramento. So, alright, so, okay. I got some new topics to talk about. Basically, it's about, how we're in the year 2022, and I believe that this is a time when there's, statistically, the least violence, the least oppression, abuse, overall in the world. There's still a lot of it, but overall, collectively, it's the least, right? If someone disagrees, then feel free to comment. But I believe, collectively, overall, and considering the amount of people, ratio-wise, amount of people to violence, let's say, it's the least. I'm sure back when the Egyptians existed, there wasn't as much violence. I'm not really sure, because some of those ancient religions there was excused violence or something of that nature. I don't know. I'm still researching all the religions. I like to think that I research religions all at once. I don't hone in on one religion and just focus on that, because I don't prefer that at all. So the sunlight is making my face look shiny. Okay, so yeah, it's Thanksgiving time right now, and I think that humanity as a whole should be thankful that there's so much opportunity and freedom overall. Okay, that I don't think I'm saying it right. What I'm trying to say is the people in the world that do have more freedom than the rest, that have more opportunity and have more resources, right now is a time to take advantage of that. And I like to say let love catch up to all of the atrocities in the world. For example, how so many people still they're still kind of tolerating toxic people in their life, or they're still in connections that it's so toxic, and they know their gut instinct is saying this is not really love, or this isn't conducive to a healthy love. Right now is a time to really I believe it's a time to get rid of that, and each person work on themselves independently, and really it's such an opportunity to figure out what does the individual want, in terms thinking about love, and if someone's driven by love, what do they want? I think it's such an opportunity for that. And I think that if more individuals did that on a mass scale, it would collectively help love catch up to the evil of the world, and ultimately would lead to less war and less conflict. Like, just thinking about, like, world leaders. Like, what are they doing, like, for, like, their mental health? You know what I mean? Like, what... It's I don't know, it's odd to me that, like, there's still world leaders that think that there's so much conflict that they think that they're gonna, like, resolve it in violence, or, like, the only answer is to, like, conquer the other nation or what have you. Like, that is so horrible. And it's really not like what humans, like, what I believe, like, humans were built to have, like, such deep emotions and deep empathy for one another. And we're not built to just, like, fight to the death, like, perpetually. That's really not what life is about, and it really should never have to get to that point. And really, like, I believe that the people that are, like, so psychotic that they resort to violence, let's say, like, you know, with school shootings or something, I think that kind of violence actually is a consequence of humans, like, not being driven by love. Like, for example, like, family dynamics. Like, the children of families that grow up to be, like, psychotic and serial killers, I'm convinced that they're, like, family, like, really unhealthy, dysfunctional family dynamics. And it was very unnecessary, you know what I mean? Like, if the people, those people probably just needed a lot of mental help, and, like, they shouldn't have been, like, coupling up and, like, having children. Like, I have looked into a lot of, like, serial killers. Like, what I do is I go on Wikipedia and I read, like, the synopsis, what's the plural of that? Synopsis. Synopsi? I actually don't know what that one is. But yeah, I read about that. Oh boy, a lot of red lights all of a sudden. And it's always like these families that are just so dysfunctional.
In 10 miles, continue onto I-80 Business Loop east toward US 58.
So yeah, like, what I'm trying to say here is, like, if people collectively worked as individuals with their own autonomy, with their own healing, and we're not, like, attached. Let me fix my mirror. It's, like, putting such a glare on me. If people worked individually on themselves and were solely driven by love and used their gut instinct, like, is this healthy? Like, am I being driven by love, or am I being driven by, like, selfishness? Those, like, that would prevent, like, so much violence, because I think, like, really violent individuals are a consequence of people who are like, having families that, like, they don't really even know who they are. So yeah, part of, like, my theory is, like, too many people are having children that, like, the parents don't even have their own sense of identity, and they're, like, I think there's, like, a difference between someone having, you know, I feel like I could probably get in trouble saying this, because, like, I feel like so many people, like, yeah, they want to have a family, and they get to this point where they're like, am I ready, like, and then I feel like there's, like, this weird, like, concept in society where it's like, oh, well, you're never really truly ready, so you just kind of have to dive in, and, like, once you have the child, then your instincts kick in. Well, like, I'm trying to say, like, I don't think that's enough. I don't mind. Okay, I don't mean to be so, like, high energy about this. I'm on some cold medicine right now that has, like, caffeine in it, so I'll try to, like, mute out my cough. I don't like when people cough, so, like, I'll try to, like, edit that out. Like, because coughing it just, like, reaches a certain decibel? What's that word? Decibel level? So it reaches a certain, like, vocal level, volume level that I don't like. It's just very, like, intense. I have, like, really good hearing, and I feel like I can just hear, like, even the smallest sounds, so so yeah, I'm actually, this is kind of random, but I'm working on some, like, writings about this, and ultimately I want to publish the writings, so oh god, the sun is like, ugh, so bad. There we go. And I feel like what the stuff I'm talking about right now is, like, such a big ask, or such a big proposition, such a big, I don't know, like, if people were to actually implement what I'm saying, it would be, like, super painful, because, like, I think it would be, like, painful but necessary. Like, and I'm just saying, like, painful emotionally, because it would require so many people to, like, detach and, like, move on from situations, like, say goodbye to friends, like, detach from family for at least, like, some period of time, because in order to find one's own identity and what your true desires are, like, it really takes, like, separation from people, because it's really rare that, like, in this day and age, it's really rare for someone to have, like, a person in their life with such true unconditional love that person in one's life is willing to, is, like, you know, so supportive of that person's journey that they're, like, that they're willing to say goodbye or whatever. So, but I think right now, that's what needs to be happening. And also, I, like, especially in America and the United States, it's like, what is going on with, like, relationships? Because it wasn't so long ago that, like, World War II, you know, like the 1940s or whatever, in the span of, like, world history, it's not actually so long ago, in that time period, people were being drafted for war. Like, that is, like, a real excuse for, like, relationships just, like, really not being able to play out naturally. But now, it's almost like we have, like, the complete opposite now. We have so much freedom, so many forms of communication. We have instant communication. And what confuses me is, like, that theoretically that should be, like, increasing the chance for unconditional love, for, like, the opportunity for, like, authentic relationships. But really, there's, like, still all this, like, muddled confusion about I think it's like the after effects of so much dysfunction in history, like in psychology, like the attachment styles, like so many people are still stuck in like super avoidant or anxious attachment styles. But my thing is, like, people with avoidant attachment styles need serious help, because it's such like a slap in the face of like evolution of humanity for like the avoidants out there to be like, I refuse to like communicate, and when there's so many ways to communicate versus like, you know, like this is a time for opportunity, for connection, for authentic connection, and like the increase and evolution of love. And like the avoidants out there are ruining it for like the rest of us. And I feel like in avoidance heads, especially the ones that don't even know like what it is, I feel like in their heads they're thinking like, oh, this is just me being like ultra confident, and but you know what, I have heard, like, I've witnessed like avoidant attachment saying things like, I don't know why I sabotaged that, I don't know why I ruined that, I don't know why I cheated. And it's like they, like, I feel like they'd be open to seeking help almost, because even they're like so confused. But it's like, I just want to like tell these like avoidant attachments out there who are like, who have opportunity for genuine connection with someone that they genuinely like, please just seek help. Please communicate with that person. Please just own up to your faults, because it's really holding back like humanity from like catching up with that love, with that evolution. And I sincerely believe that like all this avoidant attachment stuff and all this like narcissism and like inability to communicate, it's like microcosms that like reflect on like the overall humanity. Like, it's not the same as like, you know, world leaders declaring war on each other, but it's like related. Like, it's a spectrum, and the fact that like all these little microcosmic things happening with like avoidance, like not connecting authentically, it's all like related to like government not connecting authentically. Do you know what I mean? It's all connected. So like I believe that if like the moment there's like, each time like there's authentic love being created, and you know, I think it's good that it's like put on social media, and it's like, wow, it's actually possible, like people to communicate in healthy ways and cultivate love. Like, that's important. And then I think that like that, I'm a big believer in energies, so when yeah, like I think energy is real, like in a very sciencey way, like we're all created of energy, right?
In 2 miles,
so
onto I-80 business
like when there's real like love being cultivated in one part of the world, it radiates energy, and it like passes it on like to the rest of the world. So there's more opportunity for that similar energy to manifest. So for me, it's like very frustrating when I see that like when there's two people that genuinely connect, or just, you know, like why aren't they just like letting it play out naturally? Why aren't people just like spending time together? Like, technology is not real life. You know what I mean? And then when you add on like all of like the addiction stuff and the escapism, like the alcohol, drugs, it kind of like, it makes more sense to me then, because it's like people that have that addictive stuff going on, it's just going to exacerbate the avoidant attachment stuff. And it's going to exacerbate the anxious attachment
Use
stuff.
the left 4 lanes to continue onto I-80 Business Loop East
like
US 50 East.
like with, especially speaking with anxious attachment, like when they're addicted to stuff, I believe it makes them like tolerate like poor behavior more, because they're like escaping, they're drunk, whatever, so they're like, oh, whatever. They kind of just numb up to that poor behavior and they tolerate it more.
For 29 miles, continue straight.
And then with avoidance, when they numb up with alcohol or whatever, it's like it just further numbs them up to like feelings and emotions, and to like the desire to evolve and like seek help. Like, I really think like avoidant attachment, like narcissistic type people, they really need to seek help for the disease of narcissism. And I guess I'm gonna just call it like, yeah, disease of avoidant attachment. Like, that is like bad. I think it's like, it's such a stubborn like psychosis, mental condition, way more stubborn than anxious attachment. I used to be more anxious attachment, and then I got like more secure attachment the more I like lived on my own and realized like, yeah, I can provide for myself and I don't need like the outside validation stuff. Like, yeah, like I do enjoy being around people sometimes, but I kind of prefer it on my own. Like, you see the world, like the news headings and everything, it's like, gosh, makes it really difficult to yeah. Okay, I need to like, I was like kind of going slow, and then now I need to like, so I don't know how long this is. I don't want to bore everyone either. Like, I understand that the stuff I talk about is like out there, okay? To me, it's not out there because I think about it every day. But like, I think that the stuff I think about is very foreign to what people usually talk about, and I think it is what people should be talking about, but like, there's a disconnect for sure. It's funny. You know, I'm gonna tell like a quick story actually. Because I think about like alcohol and drugs a lot, like how it like holds humanity back. You know what I mean? So like, I met this one guy once who had been through rehab. He was like living a sober lifestyle, but the thing was like he still had that like avoidant like attachment stuff going on, and I think it like confused him when I had like my like secure attachment, and I was like, I had my opinions, you know. I have strong opinions. Everyone has the right to their strong opinions if they deliver it with grace and politeness. People are allowed to get frustrated, but like, I don't think it should ever get to the level of like yelling or like, you know. if you're like genuinely trying to connect with someone, it shouldn't resort to yelling. But I will say that if someone's like crossing someone's boundary repeatedly and they're not like, yeah, you have the right to yell at them. Like that's like when someone's in like self-preservation mode and they're like a good person, I think like there needs to be more like education in society that like those people have the right to fight back, and like they need to be given those tools, because I think like good people, like, you know, quote unquote, the good people who have big hearts, you know, probably tend to be like more of a people pleaser. Like they have like more of that likelihood of like freezing in a time of like needing to defend themselves, and so I feel like those people need more tools for like defending themselves. Well, I'm covering a lot of topics. Well, this is a long video. I've had just a lot to think about like this Thanksgiving, and I do want to say like how grateful I am for my life and my opportunities. I like said, I was thinking like I was really grateful for my dog growing up. Like that's one of the things I'm most grateful for like ever in my life, is having that dog, because she was like one of the only examples I've had of like unconditional love. I know it's not like the perfect example because it's an animal, so there was never that that part of like a human connection to like, there wasn't that human connection. I don't know what am I trying to say? You know, like obviously human connection is way more complicated than like human to animal. And I almost want to say that like relying too much on animals as like a comfort is like not very healthy, because like I believe that like the point of being human, like the point of being a human is to like find that authentic connection with like other humans, and then that will cause like evolution. And oh my gosh, why did that person do that? Okay, they just did like that sudden brake stuff. I think it's because there's certain kind of drivers that drive really close to like the car in front of them, so then they like brake all of a sudden, you know, and it can cause domino effects of like, if one person's like driving like that, then it can.
On US 50E in half a mile. You're still on the fastest routes.
Crash ahead on Thanksgiving. Oh, that looks bad. Unless it's like construction and it's like some kind of lights for that. What the? I have a feeling a lot of these people are they're like rushing somewhere to like make a dinner or something. I'm not rushing at all. I'm cruising. But yeah, this is weird. Oh, no, I kind of wanted to go the other way. Like, what is this? Like a motorcycle accident. You know what? Motorcycles freak me out so bad. And I do like an adrenaline rush. I get an adrenaline rush from snowboarding. Plenty of adrenaline from that. all like the crazy snowboarders out there. But like riding a motorcycle is taking it to an extreme level. I just don't see how someone would be that comfortable on a motorcycle that they're gonna go ride around with giant cars. I forgot how much cars weigh, like a couple tons or so. Why would you do that? If you ride a motorcycle and you watch this, please second guess like what that is, because I don't think that like, at least like if you have a motorcycle, like ride it like somewhere that's like not on a freeway.